Hello and welcome to another episode of Watch with Malice. I'm your host, the witchshredmalice. I'm here to guide you through the scary, the spooky, the kooky, the ridiculous, the utterly sublime. And we have something kind of ridiculous this week, group. Yes, we are watching Attack of the Mayan Mummy from 1964. Or is it? Now, what do I mean by was it or was it not made in 1964? Well, in 1957, there was a Mexican film called The Aztec Mummy. Then in 1964, Jerry Warren, the director of Attack of the Mayan Mummy, he bought the international rights to The Aztec Mummy, and then he cut it up, spliced it all about, and then filmed his own bits and inserted them. And also, because he didn't want to dub all of the film, take too long, maybe too costly, he just narrated stuff over the top. That's why we have a thing in this film of somebody in a newspaper office relaying a story so that they can do narration, so they don't need to worry dubbing. They can just show the original footage without the sound. Very sneaky. But does this approach work? Taking something that already exists and inserting a new thing into it. Well, it's worked for Power Rangers for years, but does it work with a mummy film? What do you think? He's not saying anything yet. He's reserving judgment. Very wise, very wise. But we don't need to reserve our judgment for much longer. Silly. Because we can watch the film and then decide for ourselves. So let's get on with it.
Sit down, Doctor. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
Cigar?
Oh, I believe not, thanks.
Is there something I can get you?
No, thank you. I'm quite all right the way I am. As a matter of fact, I just finished a rather large lunch.
Not celebrating, I hope.
Celebrating? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Excuse me, that was a little below the belt. I was referring to your envious position of being personally inside the story. You have that rare opportunity that comes all too seldom to any of us to scoop this as well as the other newspapers on that television broadcast of yours. By the time we go to press and hit the streets, the story will be almost a follow-up.
Well, I'm afraid I won't be broadcasting the story to anyone except you yourself. You see, I've decided to give up my radio and television work completely. I should never have gone into it in the first place. I realize now from things that have come to pass that a scientist is best suited to sit in front of a microscope, not a camera. At least one of my temperament is.
Can I use that in the story?
Yes, if you like.
You sound to me, Dr. Munson, as if you're completely closing out a chapter. As if everything that's happened has left you almost with a sense of shame, and I may add a certain degree of bitterness.
No, I'm not bitter. I feel certain all of that is far in the past. But shame, yes. That's a good description of men who allow themselves to be carried away with dreams of riches and create violence and death in the wake of what might have been, perhaps, tremendous discoveries of science.
Certainly you don't feel responsible for every mistake generated by others in your profession. If you did, you'd have yourself a full-time job and never get it done at that.
Let me put it this way. You have a certain code of ethics that you adhere to in running a newspaper. You don't print a story that you feel to be false or misleading, do you?
A newspaper serves the public. It's a different situation entirely.
You feel that science doesn't?
Ultimately, of course it does. But men like yourself are given the freedom of choice in their own motivations. There's where the difference is. All newspapers conform to the same basic premise, and there's no need for any personal analysis, even when you're hired out by some other publication. In the field of science, however, personal implications are likely to vary all the way from duality to complete opposites. I'd say there's a tremendous difference between, well, say yourself and your Dr. Janney. After all, he's not here to give me the story, but you are.
Well, I can't deal too harshly with Dr. Janney when I know that it was my own doing that got him involved in the first place.
I understand he volunteered to work with you.
Well, perhaps he did. Perhaps we all volunteered at the beginning. But I can tell you one thing. Most of the doctors at Cowan Research would have pulled out fast if they realized where the events would lead them.
Dr. Munson, suppose you start at the beginning. Now, take it easy and try to remember everything that led up to last night. I believe it's important for me to fully understand each detail in its proper perspective. Reporting is, as you've said yourself, a responsibility of complete accuracy.
I'm afraid it won't be difficult for me to remember everything that has taken place. Not at all. Well, it all began when conscientious work in hypnotic regression, that is, regressing an individual past their present life to previous incarnations, began to interest science, and it was studied by myself and the rest of the staff at Cowan Research Foundation. The foundation, as you know, was owned by my sister, who was the widow of Professor Cowan before she married Edmund Redding. Redding was made head of staff just before my sister was killed in a jet crash. Well, certain inconsistencies in my sister's will pointed out that both myself and Redding would be in complete control of the foundation in case of her death. Now, after a lengthy court battle, Redding won out, and I was expelled from the staff because of certain animosities that grew out of the proceedings. I'm happy to say now that it appears that the foundation will be reverted back into my own control. I was, of course, very grieved being kept out of the work in the lab that I had been a part of for so many years. And I was also very concerned about my nephew, Timmy, who was now left with only a stepfather to take care of him. All of my experimental notes were left at the foundation, and I felt somewhat cheated. And rather badly over losing my key subject to the hypnosis, Ann Taylor, who had the marvelous capacity to go into the trance state and recall her previous life with the ancient Mayan civilization. We found that she could almost recall the exact location inside a still existing pyramid of a possible huge fortune in ancient gold. Well, the phenomenal results that Redding had with Ann Taylor was the subject of much inquiry around the world, and pressure was put on the Cowan Research to make its findings known to the Science Association. Redding agreed to a symposium, at which time he would explain to everyone in detail and open the case before the entire association. This occurred in early September, on a Friday afternoon, just preceding the Labor Day weekend.
gentlemen, Dr. Edmund Redding.
As Redding began to speak, it became immediately apparent that he had a change of heart and decided it was in his own interest to withhold the information everyone had come to hear. This was taken with great surprise by those who had traveled thousands of miles to attend the lecture. He boldly brought out the fact that even though he and his staff believed firmly in the open transfer of new information in the field which he himself had learned because it had been built upon the shoulders of all who had worked before him, his present results would have to remain within the confines of his own group. Little time had elapsed before Redding found himself challenged openly to reveal his reasons for holding back the findings and new understandings of the Mayan civilization they knew had been brought about through his months of work in hypnosis with Ann Taylor. He was asked on several occasions questions that were basic in nature, and these were answered to a degree that would inhibit the further points that would naturally follow. When he was literally pressured into a directly pointed corner of questioning, Redding simply refused to answer. In expressing his deep regret that most of those present would regard his decision in the matter as grossly a selfish one, he insisted it was justified. The fact remained that all findings were, at this point, inconclusive because of the lack of time he would need to verify factors that were inconsistent with the geographical standards of the pyramid in Yucatan. It became more and more clear to the men who spoke out their disbeliefs of everything Redding had to say that there must have developed within the group at Cowan a tremendous motivation for their secrecy. There was no doubting the fact that the motivation such as this was the age-old plague of man's lust for that ever-appearing treasure of gold. If this great fortune were to be uncovered by a group dedicated to science, and particularly members of the association, every research lab in existence should be allowed to share in an actual search. Redding maintained stubbornly that his interest was primarily that of proving or disproving the statements of Miss Taylor in her hypnotized state as a Mayan princess, and the reference to hidden chambers within the pyramids was not in effect necessarily pertaining to gold. The meeting was closed quietly, with Dr. Redding assuming an attitude of rather composed indifference to men who had for years supported his work. Thank you. Sit down, John. You must be tired after so much flying.
I hope I'll be able to say the trip was worthwhile. You know, I'm not usually an angry man, no matter what the circumstances. But I'll say this farce of Dr. Redding's today has been enough to upset my insides.
Care for a drink?
No, thank you. I had an ulcer flare-up the day before I left Hong Kong. And what with the long flight and food from stopover hotels, it was giving me trouble even before I heard Redding talk. Now it's really beginning to hurt.
You ought to let me check it out for you. I'm still practicing medicine, you know.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yes. I work every Monday and Friday at a local clinic. I think it's a good idea to keep up with the new developments at a level of actual operation.
You know, you haven't changed a bit since you actually carried me through medical school. That's a long time to maintain the same values. I admire it very much.
And you?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've accepted the fact that I'm only referred to as Dr. Janney, not Professor Janney, as I once hoped would be the case. I'm afraid I dropped personal ambition years ago and realized that this so-called Dr. Janney wasn't in essence a doctor at all in the same sense as you and some of my other friends. I came to the conclusion that my real talent lies in the field of promoting research, making it possible for others to get the job done.
Now, administrative work is just as important as slides under a microscope.
Well, perhaps. But what about science reporting?
That. Now, don't tell me that you caught my television stint in Hong Kong.
No, it was in England.
Well, I didn't realize we were spread out that much. Well, for the record, let me explain by saying that any work that I've been doing in front of a microphone is just merely a stopgap. Most certainly not a career. It was a job that was offered me, and I accepted. See, when I was severed from Cowan, I unfortunately found myself faced with the pressures of every day that affect all of us. The most consistent one being financial.
I figured as much. And that's precisely why I'm not going back to Hong Kong.
No, you're not?
Well, not for a while yet, anyway. Oh, you may call me a mercenary, an opportunist, perhaps. But the fact is that things have been most difficult for us at the lab in Hong Kong. We've been in financial trouble for some time. Now, it's my job to righten the ship, and at the same time, map out a course that my researchers can follow. Now, I believe I can do that, and at the same time, map out a similar course for you.
Referring to the possibility of uncovering Mayan gold?
Oh, I believe it's a little bit more than a possibility. This girl, what's her name?
Oh, Ann Taylor.
Ah, yes, Taylor. Apparently she's the key to the real issue, not Cowan research. If you could only persuade her to break away from Redding somehow or other, but... Well, I suppose you've done everything in that direction.
Well, I wrote you a detailed history report on how I first found out about her ability to recall her past lives under just mild hypnosis. It was because of my excitement and encouragement that she consented to let me take her to see Redding, and also because she was very much aware of the fact, the same as all of us, that he holds the honor of being top man in his field. Her confidence has remained very much the same. Both herself and a small sister live right there on the premises. Now, I'm sure that nothing could persuade them to leave.
Ah. Then it seems a new channel of thinking is in order.
I've already effected it.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
Then tell me honestly if you could use some help.
That goes without saying. But how long could you stay away from your own base? There's absolutely no telling how much time would be involved. Most certainly no assurance of success.
Leave the gambles up to me, both on the amount of time and the chances of getting our hands on that gold. You realize, of course, that I would want to share in it.
Well, there wouldn't be any other reason for you to get involved. When you told me about your financial problems, my first thought was how I might be able to help you. Yes, I'd be glad to share 50-50, if there is anything to share.
If these stockpiles, or even one of them, could be located, it would represent such wealth that could actually affect the gold standard.
A leak of information is a definite possibility. But what they don't know is that the leak will not occur after they make the search of the pyramid as they fear, but that it has already begun to flow in a steady stream of information directly into my office.
You have someone on the staff?
Not exactly, but almost that.
Well, if this source is accurate, then you should know precisely the date they plan to leave for the pyramids.
I don't believe that I'll need any help to learn of that. It'll probably be carried by every newspaper. Redding knows that he won't be able to keep his activities a secret with regard to anything like a plane trip. And by the same token, he knows that nobody would follow him into the pyramid, because he'd be aware of their presence and simply hold off on the search until he was alone. No. My plan is to learn of the developments just as though I were actually going along with him.
In all justification, you should be.
Now, if I didn't truly believe that, I'd drop the entire thing.
I'm sure you would. As for myself, I can't claim to be drawn by anything quite so scrupulous. You remember I did mention to you that you might call me an opportunist.
Well, now, let's not think about it like that. You're one of the best qualified men I know when it comes to getting any certain thing done.
Well, you may become somewhat shocked at some of the methods that are sometimes necessary in the world of competition. I'm still well connected in this city with people who deal in business that's sometimes rather sticky. If it should turn out that I need their help on the project, I hope you won't become alarmed.
No, I won't interfere with your judgment.
Ah, good. That should simplify things a great deal. Now, getting back to cases. If your friend over at Cowan is not a member of the staff, who is he then?
He's my nephew, Timmy. A rather bright teenage boy who's been loyal to me ever since I had to leave. Timmy wasn't favored when my sister married Redding. And when she died, he was left not only without a mother, but with a stepfather that he had never really taken to. Redding, of course, never had the time to give the boy the companionship to overcome the usual stepson problem. I believe that I've been closer to Timmy for years than anyone else. He was positively shattered when I had to leave the group.
But you stayed in close contact.
Oh, not openly. No, if Redding realized the extent of our relationship, he'd cut Timmy off from the work as a security measure.
But how do you see him?
Timmy has a girlfriend. I reach him by calling her. She sets up the meetings. As a matter of fact, I'm due to set up an appointment right now. I'm rather eager to learn of Redding's feelings after what happened today, and what his next move might be. What I didn't know at the time was, the boy found he would be unable to get out of the house that night and keep the appointment. Timmy was instructed to go to his room and stay there. A mild protest was to no avail, as Timmy knew from past experience that his stepfather was a firm individual in a matter in which he held conviction. The men discussed every possible obstacle in the dangerous move Redding had suddenly decided upon. This move had been delayed several times previously out of fear of possible physical harm affecting Ann Taylor. In one mind, there was uncertainty and much doubt that this night should be the one in which would bring about the maximum depth of her Mayan existence. Redding told of his responsibility toward everyone involved and of his feeling that if he should allow himself to be influenced by outside opinions, or, for that matter, even members of the staff, then all their work could fail due to indecision, which in his mind was far worse than any research mistake. Redding himself was as fearful as any of the possible damage that they could bring about to the nervous centers of Ann Taylor. In the careful consideration that time was all important and knowing that each individual, including Ann Taylor herself, had prepared themselves, Redding reaffirmed his decision and announced that they would go ahead as planned.
Sorry I'm so late. This is Lynn. Hi.
Hi. I was beginning to get a little worried. Where's Timmy?
Oh, he won't be here. Boy, what a hassle.
Hassle?
Can I have a Coke or root beer or something? Yeah, we had to walk all the way from Broadway.
Waitress. Bring us a couple of Cokes. Is something wrong with Timmy?
Oh, Timmy's all right. It's okay. She knows about everything. She helps me all the time.
I see.
Things really got fouled up tonight. Yeah. Dr. Munson, I hope we won't be getting ourselves into trouble with this messenger routine. If it weren't for Timmy, I wouldn't be running all over half the town, believe me.
Well, I'm sure that your efforts will be rewarded. I know that Timmy appreciates your help as much as I do. Now tell me what happened.
Well, I phoned tonight just after you called. And at first I couldn't even get him on the line. One of the doctors told me he'd gone to bed. Well, I know Tim, and he's not about to go to sleep anywhere near that early. So I insisted on talking to him. And finally I heard his voice on one of the extensions. He gave me the surf jingle.
The what?
The surf jingle. It's a rhyme all the kids use. Sure, and when Timmy gives it to me, it means to dummy up and not say anything. You know, like a password.
A what? What?
Well, besides that, I knew someone was listening in on the other line. So I just made with some small talk and then hung up. After that, we had to take a bus all the way over there, because I knew Timmy'd be waiting for us at the downstairs window.
Oh, well, then you did speak to him.
Yeah, we did. I tried to call you, but you'd already left. At least I didn't get any answer at your place.
Well, when you got there, what did he have to say?
Plenty. Dr. Redding told Timmy to go to his room and that he couldn't under any circumstances leave the house. It seems sort of funny. So Timmy listened at the door and found out that tonight they're all going downstairs to the lab to find out once and for all if their information is for real. Dr. Redding said something about evidence of location or something like that. Anyway, if the experiment goes okay, they'll be leaving right away for the pyramids?
What a lot of talking! For someone who likes talking, me, I talk at you all the time, ha! Even I get a bit tired of hearing things talk. Things talk? Well, yes, things, werewolves and talk. But anyway, I was a bit distracted in the cafe scene by all the dancing to really follow what was going on. Yeah, so, were dancing cafes a thing in the 50s in Mexico? Something I have to look into. Very strange. But yes, so as far as I can tell, that they think that there's gonna be gold in this pyramid, and this woman, when hypnotized, may be able to lead them to the gold. At least I think that's what's going on. But what a lot of talking. A third of the way through, pretty much, and nothing's happened. But hopefully, it'll start to get a bit more exciting. Now let's move on.
Pressure normal. Pulse steady with slight increase. Probably nothing more than the anticipation factor. Now remember, we won't let you go any deeper than you did last night.
I understand.
Miss Taylor, can you speak to us? Miss Taylor, do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see, as before, the ancient land. I see the mountains which surround a city of stone. Everything is of stone. I am part of the past and of the city in which I place myself in obedience to the ceremony of devotion and to the offering of hope before the shrine. I see a great chieftain who approaches in elegant splendor and is frightening, though his powerful form is surpassed by a known supreme wisdom. I am asked to never enter the pyramid, and yet I find myself unable to comply with my chieftain's request. I am compelled again and again to go into the pyramid, as if some great secret was to be in revelation before my eyes.
She's all right.
Good evening. This is Douglas Bank with all the news from across the nation. Dr. Edmund Redding, who heads the staff at Cowan Research Foundation in Pasadena, has departed for Yucatan for what he has described as an objective, first-hand search of the Great Pyramid there. Dr. Redding, a naturalist, has been successful in bringing to light some startling facts in the puzzles of man's early civilization. It isn't known at this reporting as to just what Dr. Redding is hopeful to find in the pyramid, which is something of a tourist attraction, and has been searched, in its upper levels at least, many times previously. Accompanying Dr. Redding in the trip to Yucatan are members of the staff of Cowan Research Foundation, Dr. Redding's son, and Miss Ann Taylor of Los Angeles. If you're wondering where the pyramid is located, it lies at the western tip of the North Yucatan border.
Timmy, you shouldn't have left the car.
Oh, he'll be all right. I'll stay close to him. As the memory of Ann Taylor had functioned to the degree of pointing to the areas unknown to her present generation, the discovery of that which had filled the minds of everyone had become a reality. The metal used by the ancient people was indeed gold of the highest quality. Somewhere inside that pyramid lay a fortune as suspected, and the area itself was close at hand. A cold wave of something evil brought fear to the heart of Ann Taylor, who for the first time felt herself wrong in searching the pyramid. Her protests were based upon intuitive feeling that in some way a dreadful force of dark evil will exert itself upon all those present for entering into the catacombs and chambers that were forbidden to all but the Mayans themselves. Found that a mathematical system of distance separated each opening from the other, and the approximate equation of squares would lead them from one chamber to a new one. Redding became more and more intent in his quest to dive deeper into the mysterious catacombs that he now firmly felt not only existed, but would ultimately turn up more than their wildest expectations. Even during the heat of his excitement, Redding was at all times alert to the possibility of their being followed by someone at the levels above them, and thought it best that one of the party take spot checks of both the outside and the areas covered to the present point.
group, I think that dance sequence went on for a very long time. Ugh. I did like the hypnosis machine, though. Yes, that was good. Nice bit of hypnosis. Ooh, big swirly machine. It's better than just dangling a watch, wasn't it? Yeah, that was not bad. But they've been in the pyramid for quite a while, and the mummy is now active. Ooh, but nothing really happened until that last moment we just saw. So maybe, just maybe, it might get a bit more exciting in this final part. Fingers crossed.
As you may recall, we earlier in the week reported the details, as we knew them, of naturalist Edmund Redding's departure for Yucatan and of his quest for certain scientific data only yesterday morning, and has already touched off a sweeping fire of controversy in circles of anthropology and the scientific world in general. Our science editor, Dr. Frederick Munson, has the story.
From a telephone conversation I had with a colleague of mine, Dr. Eric Strummond of the Cowan Research Foundation, I learned of the incredible discoveries of the group who have now returned from Yucatan. The expedition, while proving to be one of the most startling in the history of anthropology, due to what was uncovered in the pyramid, was marred by the untimely death of Dr. Redding. An embalmed creature whose age has been estimated at something near 2,000 years at the minimum had risen from somewhere in the darkness of the pyramid to crush the body of Dr. Redding. Other members of the expedition were able to subdue the creature through the aid of gases that were brought along to test mineral contents, but unfortunately not in time to save the life of the expedition leader. The mummy, as it has been referred to up to this reporting, has been tied securely with ropes and transported to Pasadena, where it will be observed under laboratory conditions by members of the Cowan Research Foundation. Funeral services for Dr. Redding have been arranged for early next week.
Hello, Dr. Janney. Oh, hello, Timmy. No, he's doing his broadcast. I was just listening to it. I expect to hear from him shortly, though. Timmy, I'm working with your uncle now. It's all right to talk to me. We did tell you about it. Good. What? Why in heaven's name should the police be interested? I see. Well, look, Timmy, I'm glad you called. Now, don't get panicky about this thing. We'll figure something out. I'll tell him as soon as he comes in. Now, you stay in touch. Right, Timmy.
Detective Hammond, Police Department. I'd like a word with the head of staff.
I'm sorry, the doctors aren't talking to anyone.
Just a minute, sir. We have to talk to the doctor.
I'm sorry, they're not talking to anyone.
How'd it go?
Oh, all right. Weren't you listening?
Yes, I heard the broadcast. I met the hullabaloo. You must have been swamped with inquiries.
Yeah, from all the wrong people. Is there any coffee going? I sure could use some.
I've learned to work your kitchen. It's good and hot. I'll get it. You take a load off your feet.
Thanks. It's really something out there. Complete chaos.
You been able to find out anything from Cowan?
No, hardly more than the news people. I was rather surprised that they even accepted my call. I understand that some of the reporters had a difficult time getting through this morning. Well, after they talked with me, I suppose they thought it best to release the story to everyone. That was around noon. Now they're not even answering the phone.
They're going to have to, whether they like it or not.
Well, I wouldn't be too sure about that. I have an idea that they're trying to decide upon a temporary head. This reminds me. I have to call my attorney. I missed him 3 times already. If he can get things rolling along fast enough, I might be able to take charge before anything is resolved by the staff.
You?
Yes, certainly. Redding's dead, isn't he? Yes. Hello. Is this? Yes. This is Dr. Munson. Is Mr. Bryan in yet? Yes. Yes, I will. Yes. Yes. Hello, Jim. I've been trying to get you since 9 o'clock this morning. I talked with your assistant around 10, but he couldn't tell me anything. Oh, yes. Yes. Well, you know how difficult and how crucial the time element is. I want to take over at Cowan right away before they move that mummy off somewhere. Yes. Yes, I know it's difficult. Well, if you're positive that's all that you can do, well, I guess I'll have to accept it. Yes, I will. Thanks.
Well?
It'll take time to process the lab papers. Then we may have to go back to court.
The minute they're served with papers, that's the perfect tip-off for them to pack up the mummy and cart him off any place they like.
I have to see him with my own eyes. Work with him. Do you realize that some type of life has been sustained in that creature for over 2,000 years? Think of what it would mean if we could learn the processes that have caused such phenomena.
I am thinking about it. Also about the blunders that could be made over at Cowan. It's very possible that pressure from the police department could make them so nervous they might just give up. I've known Eric and the others for a long time, the same as you. And I tell you, there's no strength there. No competitive spirit.
In what way do you contemplate the police getting involved?
They are involved. I had a phone call from the boy a short time ago.
Police? For what reason?
Well, Timmy told me that Redding's family have been back and forth to the lab a dozen times, asking questions about just how he was killed. It seems they don't believe that things happened just exactly the way Eric told everyone. It's obvious they've called in the police to investigate.
Well, I suppose they'll be questioning everyone connected with Cowan.
Well, if they come here, use all your diplomatic charm. I want them in and out of here as quickly as possible.
This whole thing is getting to be more than I anticipated. Why can't things be done the right way, the easy way?
Now, let's not get pessimistic. There's no need for it.
No, of course not.
Now, the way I see it, the most important thing we can do is get our hands on that mummy. With him, we might be able to establish ourselves into the best position of all. The gold is something that'll take care of itself.
Now, what chance do you think we have to do that?
A very good one. As a matter of fact, I think you're in for a few surprises. Pleasant ones.
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, in the first place, I'd like to point out that in my mind, that mummy rightfully belongs to you. Now, you remember that old laboratory I used to have over in Clinton Street?
Yes?
Well, I went over there. It's been vacant ever since I left it 2 years ago. Everything is still intact, including all the equipment. It's a little dusty, perhaps, but with some effort, it can be made to work as well as it ever did.
You've opened it up?
In secrecy, of course.
Secrecy? I'm afraid I don't understand.
You will, Doctor. You will.
Hello.
This is Stetson. Calling for Dr. Janney. He has a little job you can do for him.
Yeah? Well, listen, you better tell him that my price is going up a little. Well, you know, the cost of living and all that.
You'll be paid off good if you do everything right.
Okay, that sounds good. Who's the guy, and when do you want it done?
Now, this is a little different. He wants you to steal a mummy from the Cowan Research Foundation and bring it on over to the lab.
I'm not sure I heard you right. Steal a what?
You read the publicity in the papers. A mummy. It's in the very back building of the Cowan Research Foundation. Hello?
Yeah, I got it. I think I heard you right the first time.
We're having coffee at the Star Cafe, 10th Street. Come on over and I'll give you more details.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be glad to cooperate. The police are most certainly entitled to any information that will help. I've always felt that way.
Thank you.
I feel it's a duty of every citizen.
I'm glad to hear that, Dr. Munson. I must say, though, that you're a rare breed. Having the door shut in one's face is more or less a policeman's hazard.
Well, I work independently here. It has its disadvantages, but also the advantage of not being tied down in anything of a political nature. Or the obligations to a board of directors, as is the case of Cowan Research. Oh, I could have gone to work for them a long time ago, but I'd rather have it this way, be my own boss.
How familiar are you with the staff over at Cowan, Doctor?
Oh, well, I've known them all for 15 years, almost intimately. And I may add that there's never been an instance of foul play during that period or any other time. Men of science, you know, are dedicated to their work. That above everything.
I've heard. Doctor, I'd like you to tell us everything you know about Dr. Redding, about his work. When did it begin? And incidentally, anyone you might know who would be interested in it.
Well, in answer to that, I can only say that the work started, seriously that is, about 7 or 8 years ago. Great strides were made in the field by Stanton, Dubois, and many others around the world. A great deal of evidence was brought forth to spur many of us into our own deep interest in the field. Dr. Redding was one of the few who dropped everything else to plunge into regression on a full-time basis. He, like the rest of us, at first found it difficult to find legitimate subjects, those who could really go deep.
People like Ann Taylor.
Exactly. Which reminds me, there's a younger sister of 6, an asthmatic. I'll have to do something for that child.
What is it that makes the difference in the individual? Why Ann Taylor?
Now you're beginning to sound like a detective. Oh, no offense, of course. But a short, precise answer I cannot give you. We simply do not know.
Doctor, I'm very interested in what I asked you about other people, connected with Dr. Redding's work.
Well, I can only tell you that the interest spread in every direction, every country. If you're attempting to pinpoint individuals, you have your work cut out for you. The number would run into the thousands.
Makes a good headline. Could sell some papers. Rouse a whole lot of interest. Yes, a story like this spread across the front page could increase our circulation temporarily anyway by 30, 40, maybe 50,000 copies. But I wish you'd tell me something, Doctor, because I'd truly like to know. Just what is your game?
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Perhaps it's me you don't understand. Perhaps your understanding is based upon an editor's need for a story to sell morning editions, and that's the only important thing for him. Is that your understanding of me, Doctor?
I don't know what you're driving at unless...
Unless I smell something rotten in Jamaica.
If you think I've come to you with inaccurate facts, you're greatly mistaken. Everything is the truth, just the way it happened.
It's a shame that these facts can't be backed up by anyone except you. The men at Cowan Research won't talk to anyone, and your Dr. Janney has left the country. And the most curious fact of all remains that every individual that actually saw this mummy of yours is no longer alive. You know, it cost us almost $200 in makeup to see a proof like this. Harry, kill the mummy story. Just carry a 2-column bit on the auto accident. Everyone killed. The driver and Taylor and one more unidentified. Now, replace the headline with something on the mine disaster. Now, get started. We've lost a lot of time. So, there you are, Doctor. Fact remains fact. And fantasy, well, that's something we don't write about. You know, a mistake is something we can correct in time, even though in some cases we're tempted not to. Now, you've given up your broadcasting, so no decision had to be made. That's quite convenient, I'd say, under the circumstances.
I tell you, it's the truth. Every word of it.
If it is, then I'll be the loser. I've been there before. You know, the $200 I mentioned to make up your headline, it's actually not so bad as all that. In saving face, we also gain a few dollars. You see, the lead is melted down so we can use it for type again. Seems like everything we use today has some sort of salvage value. Even the waste paper is hammered into pulp and put through the presses again to come out with another story. Perhaps not a startling one, Doctor, but a reasonably documented story.
All obsessed with the taste of flesh. Here are the thrill seekers.
So, what did you think, group of Attack of the Mayan Mummy? I tell you what I thought. way too much talking and nothing happening. Ugh. And so, check this out. So, the mummy kills someone, and then the others fight it off with gas and things and manage to subdue it and capture it. But you don't see any of it. It's all done off screen. You just hear about it afterwards. What is it they say about film? Show, don't tell. Terrible. So nothing really happens until the last 5 minutes. And then, I have to admit, I've not seen a mummy killed by a car before. That was new. I'll give them some props for that. Just one prop. One. But the guy driving the car, because everybody ended up dead, even the one driving. I'm not sure why he died. Was it that bad of a crash? But he must have known when he aimed at the mummy that it would hurt if not just outright kill the woman the mummy was carrying. Yeah, very strange. And I've also never seen a film where so many people are knocked out by being thrown into trees. Okay, it was only 2, but you don't see it very often. Let alone twice in the same film. But regardless of all that, I'm afraid, yes, it's going in the cauldron of shame. So thank you for joining me again on another episode of Watch with Malice. We'll be back again in 2 weeks' time, and until then, if you'd like to comment about this film, or about anything really, you can either leave a comment below, or you can email me at maliceshred@gmail.com. And so until we meet again, well, try not to aim your car at people, especially if they're carrying someone else, even if it is a mummy. Just don't hit people with cars. It's strange I need to tell you that, but apparently I do. Haha! Till next time, witch fans. Yeah.